Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a tournament completely overshadowed by the drumbeats of global conflict. We're going to look at the 1938 FIFA World Cup in France, which is basically this perfect, hyper-realistic time capsule of the political and social upheaval going on during that era. I mean, how exactly do you play a game when the world is literally about to go to war? It's a fascinating question, right? And it instantly sets the geopolitical stakes of a tournament that was fundamentally reshaped by hostility and authoritarianism. How do these athletes focus on a ball when the entire map of Europe is being violently redrawn? Well, the 1938 World Cup had to answer exactly that. It was the absolute last time the world would gather for this tournament before the outbreak of the Second World War. And trust me, the tensions off the pitch were just as aggressive as the tackles on it. Section 1, Shadows over the pitch. Now, before a single match was even played, the tournament bracket was completely decimated. Argentina and Uruguay flat out boycotted because FIFA chose a European host instead of, alternating back to South America like they expected. Spain, they were entirely consumed by their devastating civil war, but the most dramatic absence for sure was Austria. They had actually qualified for the tournament, but their team was abruptly dissolved following the Anschluss, their annexation by Nazi Germany. And while some of the Austrian players were just absorbed right into the German squad, their star player, Matthias Sindelar, famously refused to play for the unified team. So because of this cascading chain of events, we're left with a heavily Eurocentric field of only 15 teams playing in a highly tense, politically charged France. Moving on to Section 2, Pozzo's Tactical Revolution. While all that political uproar was happening in the stands, down on the pitch, Italy's coach Vittorio Pozzo, who was known as the Old Master, completely revolutionized the way the game was played. He actually used his background in the Alpini Mountain Military Corps to create this incredibly pragmatic, disciplined system. See, before this, teams just threw everybody forward in a super top-heavy formation, but Pozzo pulled his inside forwards back to create what he called Il Metodo. It basically formed a W shape and acted like a defensive shield. His philosophy was brilliantly simple. Draw the opponent in, tire them out, and then, bam, launch a lightning-fast, highly disciplined counterattack. And this sets up the ultimate clash of the era. On one hand, you have Italy's Il Metodo. It's robust, it's physical, and it relies on a deep defensive block to spring those rapid vertical attacks. But on the other side, you had the Danubian school, championed by Hungary. They played a beautiful, highly fluid game based on the older Cambridge pyramid. It was all about intricate short passing and positional rotation. The catch, it was physically pretty delicate. So it really was the ultimate battle between pragmatic, military-style discipline and elegant, artistic expression on the football pitch. Section 3, the hostile path. Let's look at Italy's actual journey through the tournament, which was an absolute gauntlet. After barely scraping past Norway, they knocked out the host nation, France. Then, in the semifinal, they ran into a Brazilian side that was so supremely confident of winning, get this, they had already booked the only available airplane tickets from Marseille to Paris for the final. No way, right? Well, Italy shut them down with a 2-1 victory. This meant the Brazilians had to watch Italy take the train to Paris while their own premature flight plans completely went to waste. Now, just looking impartially at the historical facts here, that quarterfinal match against France highlights the extreme tension of the era. The Parisian crowd was incredibly hostile toward the Italian regime, and as a calculated response to the boos and protests from the stands, the Italian team stepped onto the pitch wearing an all-black change strip, the Maglianera, which exactly matched the colors of Mussolini's paramilitary forces. They also performed the fascist salute right before kickoff. It was a remarkably stark reminder of just how deeply politics had infiltrated the sporting world at that time. Section 4, the final and the myth. So all of this hostility and tactical preparation finally culminates at the Stadio Olympique de Colombes in Paris. And Pozzo's tactics, they worked to absolute perfection. That robust Italian counterattack completely overwhelmed the fragile Hungarian defense. Gino Colosi and Silvio Piola each scored twice, securing a massive 4-2 victory for Italy. The Hungarian passing game simply could not break through Italy's defensive screen. With this win, Italy cemented their place in history, becoming the very first nation to successfully defend a World Cup title, and the first to win it on foreign soil. Right after the match, the Hungarian goalkeeper, Antal Szabó, delivered this legendary, chilling quote. He said, "I may have let in 4 goals, but at least I saved the lives of 11 men." His words helped spawn one of the most enduring myths in all of sports history. The idea that the Italian dictator, Benito Mussolini, had sent the team a telegram right before the match containing just 3 terrifying words. vincere o morire, win or die. For decades, the public genuinely believed the Italian players were literally fighting for their lives out on that pitch. However, if we neutrally consult the historical record to bust that myth, it actually tells a different story. We have this quote from Pietro Rava, who was the last surviving player from that final. He confirmed that yes, a telegram was indeed sent by Mussolini, but it was just a standard message of encouragement. There was no literal death threat. So, while the political pressure on the players was undoubtedly immense, the whole myth of the win or die telegram was just heavily dramatized by the post-war narrative. And finally, Section 5, the trophy in a shoebox. Immediately following the final whistle in Paris, the world plunged into the total darkness of World War II. Because the tournament scheduled for 1942 was completely canceled, and the next one wasn't actually held until 1950 in Brazil, Italy remained the reigning World Cup holders for an unprecedented, unbroken 16 years. The fate of the sport itself and its ultimate prize literally hung in the balance during this massive global conflict. And that leads us to this incredibly stark and poignant epilogue. To protect the Jules Rimet trophy from being looted by occupying troops or scavengers during the war, Dr. Ottorino Barassi, who was the Italian vice president of FIFA at the time, quietly smuggled the solid gold prize out of a bank in Rome. For the entire duration of the Second World War, football's greatest treasure was actually hidden away in a simple shoebox, tucked safely right underneath his bed. It's an incredible image to leave on, isn't it? When a sport's greatest prize survives a world war, hidden away in a humble shoebox, what does that teach us about the enduring power of the beautiful game? I think it shows that even in humanity's darkest hours, we fiercely protect the things that unite us. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring these fascinating intersections of sports and history.